So I'd like to know where you got the notion. Said I'd like to know where you got the notion. To rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, baby. When first released early in 1974, Rock the Boat by the Hues Corporation barely registered on the charts. But a few months later, the disco scene had made it a hit and took it to number one. Mindlessly repetitive, it is a fitting anthem for the mindlessly repetitive disco era. Sadly, the song in which the singer is asking his love where she got the notion to challenge the status of their relationship is a fitting anthem to much of religion, and especially religious leaders. Throughout history, as religious institutions and their leaders become entrenched, they are quick to condemn and in some cases kill anyone who dares rock the boat. We've been looking at Judah and Israel during the days of Asa. Early in his life, he was submissive to the will of God, but in his later years became defiantly protective of his own power and privilege. 2 Chronicles 14 through 16. When God sent a prophet to rock the boat, Asa threw him in jail. Shortly after his death, one of God's greatest prophets, Elijah, got the notion from God and arose to rock the boat. But even Elijah had to be reminded, God is the boat rocker, not him. Today's Morning Minutes in the Bible on Throwback Thursday looks at the value and dangers of being boat rockers. Me Against the World by Robert F. Turner, from Plain Talk Magazine, February 1978. Elijah once thought, I am left alone, the only one right, Romans 11:3. But he was wrong in this judgment, even though right in his God service. The one against the world attitude is self-inflating and has wrecked the work of many a would-be reformer. When one recognizes a truth which he had not before seen, and if you have not done this, you are not growing as God intended. This should be a humbling experience. Should one not think, until now, I have failed in this matter? Is it not presumptuous to conclude that you alone have such marvelous insight? What if others are yet unaware of this truth, or perhaps fail to give it the emphasis it deserves? Will we help them by adopting a superior air and treating them as if they were stupid or do not love truth? Quite often, it is the one who has newly seen the light that was, not as bright as they now seem to think. It is often the case that others have long known this particular truth, although they may not have set it forth with the clarity it deserves. Our attitude may push good men into defensive positions. What pushed the reformer into his one against the world attitude? When will we learn to teach such truth as we believe we have found with vigor, application, documented by scriptures, but with no personal credit line? I get the impression that some think they invented the gospel. Besides being the Christ-like spirit, such humility will be very helpful when someone examines our new truth and finds it an old error. Those who have recently taken excursions in imputed righteousness need to do a bit of research on this line. We do tend to traditionalize our preaching, to emphasize one point to the neglect of others. But if someone knows the truth more perfectly, let him balance his preaching and set it before us with clarity. It is not the scriptural whole truth scheme of redemption that riles truth lovers. Good men constantly learn more truth. They just don't like to be fed 16th century error and be classed as legalists if they refuse to eat it. This warning was written by a man who was a boat rocker in his own gentle way. We would do well to reread this and rethink our own efforts to preach and teach God's Word. Yes, if we've turned church into a Caribbean cruise liner, then our boat needs to be rocked. But if we set out to be boat rockers, we must check our egos and let God's Word rock our own boat first. If it's about us, then our efforts will ultimately fail. Let's ask ourselves where we got the notion and make sure it's from God's Word. Thank you for watching Morning Minutes in the Bible on Throwback Thursday. Until next time, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.